My name is Taylor Jones, and here are my research updates on Sam Shepard. Okay, starting off with some information about Sam Shepard's life. The most interesting fact that I found was that he was in The Notebook, which is one of my favorite movies. That was crazy. But, anyways, Sam Shepard was born on November 5th, 1943, in Illinois, and then he died July 27th, 2017, in Kentucky. He was an American playwright and actor, specifically in American West genre. This is the first book that I did some research on. It's called Focused on Playwrights by Susan Joann, but it didn't really help very much. It didn't have a lot of information about Sam Shepard, so I moved on to the next book. This next book is called The Drama Is Coming Now by Richard Gilman. This book was really helpful to explain the author's reputation. There was a lot of information about how most people would agree he is one of the most interesting and exciting American playwrights. People describe his work as powerful. This book also talked about Shepard's themes, saying a theme was the death or betrayal of the American dream and the decay of our national myths. It also talked about some important influences on his work, including Jackson Pollock, modern jazz, Western music, blues, country, and folk music. A big takeaway from this book is that Shepard is a dramaticist. They said that most of his plays seem like fragments, they spill all over, they leak, they change, almost like they're hard to follow along. Here's the next book that I did some research on. It's really blurry, but it's The Typography of Trauma by a bunch of different authors. This book talked about how Shepard wrote about westerns, anti-war plays, and this name Joseph, I have no idea how to say that last name, but he is really important in Shepard's life and inspiring him on work, so I need to research that guy. This next book that I did research on is called Taking It Like a Man by David Sovron, and this book was helpful, but it talked a little bit more about Shepard's time in TV and movies and not necessarily him as a playwright. The next book is Bodied Spaces by Stanton Gardner. This book really just talked about Sam Shepard's The War in Heaven, which I need to do more research about. This next book is A Companion to 20th Century American Drama by David Kranzner. This book also talked about Shepard's reputation, saying Sam Shepard ranks as one of America's most celebrated dramaticists. This book also talked about Shepard's themes in his plays, saying that he was one of the most consistent playwrights in Western locals, characters, and imagery. This book also talked about Shepard's works, specifically True West, saying it was arguably Shepard's signature piece, and True West was essential expression of Shepard's vision. The last book that I'm going to talk about is Contemporary American Drama by Annette Sadik. This book was really helpful because it drew out a very great, helpful timeline of Sam Shepard's entire life and all of his works. So it just talked about him growing up and his history and how he started playwriting. It talked about his themes of memory, power, specifically to shape reality. This book also talked about Joseph Cha, whatever his last name is, and how they work together and their book together. So I need to research that because I think that would be really helpful in explaining Sam Shepard's life and his works. I think the biggest takeaway from this book specifically was Shepard and the postmodern. There's a quote here that says, Shepard is concerned with the postmodern question of essence versus appearance and slipperiness of authentic identity as it relates to image, particularly the image associated with artistic fame.